Good morning to you. Carson Meredith here. It is 8:11 on this Sunday, January 19th. It is a wave weather alert day, and it is snowing across a good chunk of wave country. The forecast largely remains on track, which means we are seeing some issues out on the roadways this morning. Let's just dive right into radar. We'll show you where things stand at the moment. Around 4:30 or 5 o'clock this morning, this band of snow that goes right along Interstate 65 as well as Interstate 71 in Kentucky blossomed right on top of wave country, and it continues to very slowly push to the east this morning. However, it is moving rather slowly, which means that we're seeing not only some heavier snowfall rates in the mix, which is causing more issues, of course, but the fact that it's slowing down or is a little slower than we expected may mean some slightly higher snowfall totals. We might be talking about the higher end of that 1 to 2 inch range in this particular area that I've circled here on radar. And that's where most of the action has been so far this morning, right across central Kentucky, especially south of Louisville. If you were watching our sunrise newscast from 6 to 8 this morning, I showed the Trimark cameras on I-65 in Hardin County, and it was snow covered for a moment around 6 a.m. It's improved a little bit. I'll show you some of those cameras here over the next few minutes, but those side streets are not in good shape across central Kentucky, and this is the reason why, obviously. Let's zoom in tighter. I'll show you where some of the steadier snow is falling. We'll come back to the metro in a second. But if you're in Bullitt County, if you're in Hardin County, you've had snow going on for upwards of 3 hours now. And again, this band of snow will eventually get a move on to the east later this morning. It's just a little bit behind schedule in getting a move on. But all in all, the forecast is still on track. Snow continues to fall across all of Hart County, down towards Mumfordville, Greene County, Taylor County, Campbellsville, Greensburg. You guys are seeing a good bit of snow. Don't ignore this little dry spot that radar's showing up. It's complicated, but it happens. Just ignore that. We've got snow falling also into Nelson County, Marion County, Washington County. And some of that snow does indeed continue here in the metro. The worst spots here in Jefferson County this morning have been the south end and the east end. That's kind of where the edge of this band has set up, right over the Louisville Metro, of course. If you live in the West End, if you live in downtown, if you're up in Prospect, down towards Valley Station and PRP, you've seen some snow showers, yes, but it hasn't really caused any issues. We did get a report of there was a crash on the Snyder eastbound trying to get on 65 northbound. Somebody rolled over on that ramp. We haven't heard about any injuries with that, but it just goes to show you that there are certainly some slick spots out there this morning, mainly south of Louisville, but there's still some trouble here in the metro as well. Big picture shows most of the snow, the main shield, if you will, slowly making its way eastward into eastern Kentucky. That's where we've expected to see the highest snowfall totals out of this event. And again, this is not a huge winter storm, but if you're heading out early this morning, there has been accumulations and a lot of the side streets are snow covered, especially across Kentucky. Now, if you're in southern Indiana this morning, there's a few flurries flying around, but not much. Again, the snow really started to get going right on top of Kentucky, which is going to leave those of you in southern Indiana kind of out of the ballgame here. There'll be some flurries, maybe a light little coating across southern Indiana this morning, but that's really all. I think the worst issues will continue to be in the bluegrass. That is a live view of Bardstown on our SkyTrack camera. The snow is still coming down in Nelson County, just as we get all of the snow melted from 2 weeks ago. Here we go again, right? And about 10 minutes ago, the side roads here, right there in the heart of Bardstown, were completely covered. And what's working in our favor a little bit is a lot of people are getting out this morning still, and that's kind of the increased traffic is allowing some of the main roads like your 4-lane roads and your interstates, to just go back to being wet with a couple of slick spots. So in other words, it's drivable this morning if you're in central Kentucky. It's not impossible. You just got to be very, very, very careful, especially on those side roads and neighborhood roads as well. Let me jump into the comments before I keep going. Let's see who's watching. Judy's watching. Good morning. Sharon's watching in Louisville. Snow is on roads where she's at. Sharon, if you don't mind telling me what part of Louisville you're in, just kind of helps me get an idea of what's happening outside. Just tell me what neighborhood you're in if you feel comfortable doing so. Katie says she's over the snow. She's ready for spring. We're about 60 days away from spring, in case anybody's really wanting to know. Let's see. Anita only had a few flakes where she's at in Muldraugh. I mean, that's not... The cutoff with this snow is quite impressive. You're going to go from having 1 to 2 inches of snow in a particular spot. You go 10 miles west, not much. Flurries, if that. That's a live view from some of our Kentucky Mesonet cameras. This is mainly across central Kentucky. You see Grayson County, there's a little coating. Marion County, same story. Look at Franklin County, top right corner of the screen. That is another good coating of snow that has fallen over in the state capitol this morning. Let's see. Michael says it's coming down pretty good in Shelby County. That's not surprising. Thanks for the report. Appreciate it. Luna on YouTube says E-Town, obviously accumulating. The ground fully covered yet again. Let's see. Someone is in London, Kentucky. The ground is covered. Not sure if there was pre-treatment. I can tell you there have been some salt trucks out this morning kind of doing spot treatment in the trouble spots. But you have to remember, with all the snow melt and the rain we've had recently, the roads were wet. And that kind of makes treatment in advance useless because it'll just wash away. So that's why we flagged today as an alert day. It wasn't going to be a huge winter storm. We never forecast that this go round, but because we didn't have as much pre-treatment, there was likely going to be some issues, even with only 1 to 2 inches of snow, and that's certainly been the case so far. Tim says, good morning. Is the sun coming out today? Maybe very, very late in the day. I'm talking 5 o'clock, especially in Louisville, points north. But it's going to stay cold all day, guys. I mean, it's 27 on these Mesonet cameras. We're likely going to stay, forget likely, we will stay in the 20s all day, and we will likely see those temperatures drop as the day goes on. This is a live view of I-65 in Hardin County. This looks like, it's been a hot minute since I've driven in Hardin County. I want to say this is near the Bluegrass Parkway. This is near E-Town. And again, 65 is drivable south of Louisville. It's drivable. You can see wet pavement. So if you got to absolutely get out today, I know WKU is going back for their spring semester on Tuesday. So if you're taking your college kid back down to Bowling Green today, you can still do that. Just know there will be some slick spots on I-65. So give yourself plenty of extra time if your travel plans take you anywhere across central Kentucky today, south of the city. Let's see. Margaret's watching in Marion County. She says it's coming down hard and quickly. Yeah, those heavier snowfall rates are what is going to get us to those snowfall totals around 2 inches. Down your way, Margaret. So we appreciate that report. Katie says, thankfully, this snow will be easier to clean off the driveway. Yes, it will. It is a fluffy snow, which means it accumulates quickly, but it's just snow. It's not ice this go round. So should be able to scrape that off fairly quickly once it's all done here in a few hours. Let's see. Joyce says it's snowing where she's at in Newmarket, Kentucky. Devin says the roads are not good in Frankfort. Alicia says the roads are covered in LaGrange. That all makes perfect sense based on where this heaviest snow band has developed. That's a live view of the Snyder at Shelbyville Road. Again, the east end of Louisville and the south end of Louisville are the worst spots in the metro, basically along the Snyder. Kind of how the Snyder wraps around Jefferson County. That's where the trouble spots have really been in the city itself. You get closer to downtown, not much. I mean, there's a little coating, but it's not slick necessarily in downtown based on what I've seen. Kevin says, however, that he was just on the Watterson. Once he got east of the tunnels, the expressway was covered. The ramp from 64 East to the Watterson East was very slick. I'm trying to, okay, that's the loopy ramp. Got it. So that's something we'll have to watch throughout the morning as well, as the ramps, especially. The main interstates will likely be drivable, slick spots like Kevin's talking about for sure, maybe snow covered, but it's those ramps that are really going to be concerning here over the next couple of hours. Sherry says New Hope is covered. Let's see. Glen Mary is covered with snow. Bardstown Road and Fern Creek is clear. Great report. It just shows you how sharp of a cutoff the snow band is going to be today. Glen Mary is covered. You go a little further north up Bardstown Road and Fern Creek, and it's clear. That's wild. That's only a 3-mile difference, 5-mile difference. Wild, wild, wild. Appreciate the report. Rebecca says it's coming down really hard where she's at in Buffalo, Kentucky. Lebanon, snowing hard, Nancy says. Starting to get some snow in southern Indiana, Kelly says. Appreciate that. Charlestown. And again, southern Indiana, you're going to have flurries and a few snow showers today, but it's not going to be nearly as heavy as what we're seeing across Kentucky. So the roads up in southern Indiana should be in good shape for most of the day ahead. Jody on YouTube says it's snowing in Shelbyville. Bardstown side roads are covered. Yeah, we showed the Bardstown camera a second ago. Let's see. Got a few folks in eastern Kentucky watching. Pulaski County. Karen's watching, says it's coming down pretty good down there. So we appreciate that report, Karen. Let's see. Robin on YouTube says there's a little layer of snow on Taylorsville Road near the Watterson. That makes sense. Appreciate that report. And again, I'm just kind of running through some of these reports that you guys are sending me. Just to mainly so that you guys know what's going on. A lot of you probably wanting to get ready to go to church. Maybe you haven't been to church in a couple of weeks because of this recent winter storm we had. Again, it's drivable this morning. You just have to be very, very careful. I'm not sure why that snow chance graphic is not working. So we'll just jump to Futurecast. It's just better to look at the map anyway. So as we go through the rest of today, you notice around 9 o'clock that the snow continues to fall, especially across central Kentucky, south of Louisville and east of Louisville. As we go through the afternoon, we get towards 1 o'clock. Most of that snow is exiting wave country. It's heading towards Lexington and the mountains of eastern Kentucky. Could there still be a few snow showers around? Yes. Will they be as heavy as this morning? No, they will not. So that's 1 o'clock. And then by 3 this afternoon, I think we are done with this. So this is not a huge winter storm. It's not going to be here all day. It's not going to be here for 2 days like the last one. This will be a quick mover. However, once the snow moves out, that dangerous cold settles back in. Snowfall forecast has not changed much from when we talked last night or earlier this morning. I still expect very light snowfall amounts across southern Indiana. Could there be a couple of slick spots? Oh, yeah. Will it be snow-covered roads? No, not in southern Indiana. Meade County, Kentucky, Breckinridge County should be okay with those lighter snowfall amounts. The zone that we continue to watch, and as you guys have been reporting to me, is our central and eastern counties in the bluegrass. So along Interstate 65 and up towards Interstate 71. That's where we're going to see snowfall amounts around 1 to 2 inches. And the longer this snow band hangs around, the more likely we get closer to the 2-inch side of that range as opposed to the 1-inch side. But obviously, as we've seen, it's enough to cause issues on the roads, especially those side streets. Further east you go out towards Lexington and the mountains, they could see a solid 2, 3, maybe even 4 inches of snow today. So the heaviest snow still expected from Louisville up towards LaGrange, Eminence, Shelbyville, Frankfort. And then further south, E-Town, Bardstown, Lebanon, Hodgenville, Mumfordville, Greensburg, Campbellsville, Columbia, Springfield, Taylorsville. If you live in near any of those towns, looking at solid 1 to maybe 2 inches of snow before all is said and done. All right, I'll leave the snow map there so you guys can kind of digest it while I answer some questions and get some more reports from you guys because they are very, very helpful. Kristen says she's watching in LaRue County where the roads are covered. Okay, thank you, Kristen, rather. Appreciate you watching. Brady says a fresh coat at Billtown in the Snyder. Yeah, be careful in the Snyder. If you've lived here long enough, you know that the nickname is the Gene Slider. And there's a reason for that because the Snyder always gets slick whenever we have snow. It's always one of the first roads to have trouble. Caroline says Shelbyville's got about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch already. Not surprising. That's on track with our forecast, as you see. Rebecca says her son needs to go back to Western today in Bowling Green. Classes don't start until Tuesday. Go today, go tomorrow. You can go today. You can go back to Bowling Green today. You just have to plan on a lot of extra time. So it takes 2 hours normally to get to Bowling Green from Louisville. I would say plan on maybe 2.5 hours to get there, just so that you can take it slow, make sure that you can navigate 65 okay. They've seen some snow in Bowling Green this morning, not as much as what we have seen in central Kentucky. So yeah, you can get there today. If you feel more comfortable waiting until tomorrow, totally understand. But if you need to get back down to Bowling Green today, you can. Just got to take it really, really slow. All right. Courtney's asking, when should we start to drip the faucets in Louisville? Well, not just Louisville, Courtney, but everybody should start dripping those faucets tonight. That's when the extreme cold will arrive. Tonight, we will have those wind chills between 5 and 10 below zero. That is definitely pipe bursting cold around here. So make sure those faucets are dripping. Starting this evening, really, past 7 or 8 o'clock. That's when the extreme cold will come into play. Good question. Let's see. Eliza, forgive me, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I'm so sorry. Her mom tried to go to work from Sonora on 65, says it was not good. Yeah, that checks out with what I've seen in Hardin County this morning on 65. Let's see. Brenda says there's a light coating in Carrollton. Sounds good. Appreciate it. Suzanne says steady snow still falling in East Louisville. The roads are slick. Tanya says snowing in Mount Washington. Amy says half the yard you can still see grass, the other half you can't. Isn't it funny how that works? Let's see. Supposed to drive from Bardstown to Lexington. What's Lexington going to be like? So I would imagine you're going to want to take the Bluegrass Parkway. It's going to be rough. That's kind of the zone where 1 to 2 inches of snow is likely from E-Town to Bardstown to Lexington. And Lexington may see slightly higher snowfall, maybe closer to 3 inches out there. So if you do have to get out, go from Bardstown to Lexington today, be extremely careful. The Bluegrass Parkway gets slick quick, as you all know, down in that part of the world. Let's see. Kathy says it is snowing in Trimble County. Thank you, thank you. Angie says she's has to pick up her daughter from a camp in Litchfield tomorrow. Tomorrow, the main road should be fine. There could be a couple of, especially once you get off the parkway or the interstate, there might be a couple of slick spots on those side roads tomorrow because it's going to be so cold. But the roads conditions will improve as we go through this afternoon and tonight. Once we get the snow out of here, most of the main roads will be fine. It's just the next few hours where you got to be really, really careful. So hope that makes you feel a little more at ease there, Angie. Let's see. Austin says, sitting on Fern Creek Road, it is covered with a dusting. Okay, thanks for that report, Austin. Be careful. Donna says it's covered in Boston, Kentucky. Tanya says it's still snowing in Mount Washington. Heavy snow, Sandy says, in Shepherdsville. Okay. Good to know. All right, this is what I was waiting for, Chris. Appreciate the report. Just under 2 inches in E-Town. That is not surprising one bit. Let me go to radar because this heavy band just does not want to move east. It's finally starting to move east. So if you're in E-Town, Chris, and everybody in E-Town, I would say within the next hour, most, if not all, the snow would be done. Could still have a few lingering flurries, but this heavy stuff that's been falling all morning should be moving out, I'd say by 9:30. But we appreciate that report. Becky says roads are covered in Shelbyville. Right at about 2 inches in southwest Hardin County, according to Donovan. Appreciate that. Michelle says nothing in Valley Station. Thanks for that report, Michelle. That's wild. I mean, we knew the cutoff from accumulations and road issues to nothing was going to be sharp, but you know, you go to the Snyder at Billtown Road, they've got issues on that part of the town. 15 miles to the west in Valley Station, Michelle says there's not a lot. So sounds good. Appreciate that report. Gosh, we appreciate you guys watching so early in the morning. I was worried I was going to wake you all up, but we appreciate you tuning in. Over 700 of you on our social platforms. What are the wind chills Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? I'll talk more about that later today. I'll tell you for tomorrow morning, that's going to be the worst of the wind chills, between 5 and 10 below zero tomorrow morning. So thankfully, the kids are off tomorrow for MLK Day. And a lot of you are off tomorrow for MLK Day as well. But if you do have to head to work, dress in layers. Limit your time outside. Try to cover all of your extremities, you know, hats, gloves, a face mask, a winter face mask, you know, not the surgical ones. You know, just stay warm and limit your time outside, especially tomorrow morning, because that's the kind of cold in the morning that could give you frostbite in 15 or 30 minutes if you're not taking care of yourself. Ben says he's got light snow and flurries where he's at in PRP. Appreciate it. Michelle says Grayson County, the roads are covered, and it is slick. All right, good to know. Thank you, Michelle. Barbara says where she's at in E-Town, still coming down pretty good. Victoria says her church is at 17th and Jefferson in Louisville. Service starts at 9:45. What should we expect going? Well, Victoria, depends on where you are in Louisville, like where you are and how you're going to get to your sanctuary. That part of town is fine. You know, here in downtown on the West End, things are okay. If you live in the southern or eastern part of Louisville and you're driving towards church, you may have some slick spots in the south end and the east end, but closer to the heart of town, downtown, that's okay at this stage of the game. Hope that helps. Let's see. Courtney says she just measured 1.5 inches of snow in Middletown. All right. We appreciate that report. Paula says still snowing good in Bardstown. She's loving it. She wants more snow. Are a lot of you guys with Paula or are you not with Paula? To each their own, but I'm kind of tired of the snow. It's been a crazy January for sure. But Paula, we appreciate that report nonetheless. Nancy says heavy snow in Taylorsville. No issues in Breckenridge or Meade County. And that's on track with our forecast, Michelle. So thank you for that. Again, that cutoff was sharp. E-Town, you guys have seen close to 2 inches of snow. Breckenridge and Meade County, A few flurries. That's about it. Connie says roads are covered in Bardstown, still coming down. Morgan asked, do we think the roads will be okay this evening? Main roads will be fine this evening. There could still be a couple of slick spots, but they will be better than they are now. It's those side roads that could be dicey, especially given the fact that we didn't have a ton of treatment on the roads before this round. Those slick spots will linger, especially given how extremely cold it is going to be tonight. So side roads and untreated roads will be the big issue going through the rest of the day and overnight tonight. Main road should get better once the snow comes to an end here in just a few hours. All right, guys. I hate to cut things off, but I do have another newscast on TV here at 9 o'clock. So I got to get ready for that. Again, the heaviest snow band continues to slowly push east, with the worst travel issues from, I'll say, here in Louisville, basically down I-65 and into our eastern county. So this zone right here is where we have the biggest travel issues. It's where we've seen the heaviest snow so far this morning. So if you're in that circled zone across central Kentucky, as well as in the east end of Louisville and the south end of Louisville, be very careful. The main roads are drivable, but there are slick spots. Many side roads in that circled area are covered. So whatever time it would normally take you to get somewhere, double it. If it takes you 20 minutes to get to church, give yourself 40 minutes instead, just to play it safe, right? We'll get this snow band out of here in the next 2 or 3 hours, and we will start to see things improve, especially on those main roads by the early afternoon. So yeah, that's where things stand. Heaviest snow still expected in central Kentucky. As we've said, southern Indiana, there's some flurries falling in Crawford and Harrison County. Might give you a little coating near Corydon, near English, near Marengo, but most of the roadways in that part of the world will be just fine. All right. If you missed anything on this video, give it a couple of minutes. You can rewatch it, or you can turn on the old school television and watch Wave News Sunrise here at 20 minutes at 9 a.m. We'll have more coverage of the winter weather then as well. I'm hopeful we'll have the storm tracker out here in the city too here in the next little bit. Okay, that's going to do it for now, guys. I appreciate you watching as always. I'll try to do another update here on the social side of things maybe around 11:30 this morning. We'll do another update around then. I'm optimistic most of the snow will be moving out by that point. But we'll just hop on to do another update for you guys as we go through the rest of the afternoon. That'll be around 11:30, or you can watch me on TV coming up here in 20 minutes on Wave News Sunrise at 9 o'clock. All right, guys, be safe, be careful as you're getting out this morning, and I will talk to you all on TV here very, very shortly.